Welcome back to the Z Monster channel and our deck remodel. As you can see, we are fixing the other problems that we came across when trying to rebuild a simple deck project. We had the rotten wood. We had to put in a new beam here. This beam here we also had to replace, the bottom here. This one is actually 3 beams thick, and then I had to get my car jack out, wedge it up to jack the beam up and then screw it in. So that one's all in place. This one's all back in place. Now what I have to do is I've got some sheeting. I'm going to have the sheeting come down just to a little bit below this the 2x6 that's here, and then I have to get the insulation barrier and reattach it to the bottom under here. Before they had that, and then they had a 2x4 was screwed along the bottom of this, holding it up there. I may redo that. I do have some 2x4s that I bought because we were initially going to be framing in the door, but now I think we're just going to replace the door. So we're going to rip it out and replace it with a different door at a later date. So for right now we're just making it so that it's ready to be done. And the reason for that is when we got underneath here, you could see that there is no subfloor. There's subfloor pieces here, but then it got damaged, water damaged on this end for some reason, and it is just deteriorating, and that's inside, that goes all the way inside the house. And you can see it's all broken apart up in here too. So yeah, this door's got to come out. I mean, it's got mildewed out in here. Don't know exactly what happened with it. It's supposed to be an exterior door, supposed to be protected, but yeah, originally, like I said, we were gonna just rip out the door, frame it in, and then just close it off. But we do happen to like the large door coming out onto the deck, and if we can get it for a decent price, then we'll pick up a door, just a nice cheapy French door thing, and pop it back in there. But we'll install it correctly with all the proper flashing and everything, so that we hopefully won't have the same issues with water. For this section here, like I said, I'm going to be cutting, I actually have the board out ready to be cut right now. I'm cutting the sheeting down. The sheeting is actually going to drop down farther than it did before. I cut it to 12 inches. I'm actually going to have it drop down to 14 inches. And then I've got some tar paper that I'm going to have sheen. You can see how well this is put on. I'm going to have tar paper sheen down all the way down past the board and attach it to the house. And then I did buy a few new pieces of the vinyl siding. They don't have this contour of the pieces anymore. And the one piece that I had there, because I had to remove the water spigot that you guys all remember, I removed that and capped it off. And the piece that I have here is stained up with the rust stains. So I'm going to see if I can get some of the rust stains off. If they won't come off, then I'm just going to replace that one with the flat style, which is this here. This is all that they had at my home improvement center. But I did get 4 pieces of it, so if any of the pieces that I have any damage to them, I have enough to cut and paste and put it together and do it the right way. Plus continue it all the way down again where it's supposed to be, instead of where it was. It was cut up. It was cut up to the top of the board here and then down, and then the deck was actually just mounted right to it with no flashing or anything to protect the water from intruding right back into the house. So I have to eliminate this problem right now before I continue building the deck. I figured at this point I'd be done with the deck, but because of this little minor delay, it's taken me a couple of days and a bit more money, and but we're gonna fix it right and get everything reattached to the house like it's supposed to be. And the skirting, I've got the skirting all piled up here. It doesn't look that spectacular, but it's all going to be behind the deck anyway. Nobody's going to see it except for me for right now. So I'm just going to pull those out, get everything reattached, screw it back in place, and we should be good to go. Okay, just wanted to show you an update of where we're at. We got the boards in, we got the sheeting material on, and covered it with some tar paper. I went up underneath and just stapled it onto the sheeting. The sheeting stops right about here, and then I got the tar paper is just going to keep hanging down. Going to go with I have some used pieces that we cleaned up and we're going to reuse, and then I got some new pieces, and then all the skirting is going to screw in right onto the bottom of here, so it'll screw in here and it'll cover over the rest of the tar paper, so any water that gets in behind there will just sheen right on down, because my new deck that I'm building is not going to be attached to the house. It is going to be free floating, so it's just going to go up to the house and that's it. I may even put some form of flashing or penetrating preventive tape on the top of the ledger boards around those edges there to protect it. So now all I got to do is I got to put some the molding trim on this side of the door, so then I can start putting all of the vinyl siding back on. Yay! And then vinyl siding, and then the skirting. Then I can actually work on the deck project, which is what we're actually out here to do. So we'll see you on the next step. Okay, it's the end of day 6 and the deck remodel video series. And you can see I got absolutely nowhere on the deck, but the house is back put together. And now tomorrow I can actually start working on the deck, finally, after 4 days of working on the house. We are going to be replacing the door. We're probably just going to have to cover it with some sheet of plastic right now, and like staple it or duct tape it to it or something, just so that water doesn't, you know, go in and do any more wood damage before we can get in there on it. But it should be pretty easy, just some minor trim stuff, and then pop the door out, pop another one in, maybe a little bit of framing depending on the size of the opening, the rough opening that the new one needs. We're just going to go with a cheapy another French door set, so it's not, we don't use it that often, but when we do, we want it to look a little bit nice. And we're going to be putting up gutters along here, so that'll help a little bit. And I'm going to be putting the weather strip trim on the ends, on the outside of it, again like we did this one. And hopefully that'll, you know, make it last a little bit longer as well. But as far as the house is done, you know, I got one little hole where the where the water line was coming up through, but it was actually on the outside of the house, so I don't know why the hole was on the inside, but maybe they were going to run the pipe up and out, but I don't know. This is what we have. We were able to get the orange stains off of the other panel, so I reused one panel, and then the very bottom panel here is the new stuff, and it doesn't really matter too much how that looks because the deck is going to come up to it anyway. But it just has to have something covered so that the rain will sheen down and continue down instead of penetrating back into the wood. And that's what I want to get done. So got a little bit of debris left here, and my other debris pile here is growing. And then of course our old deck boards there still that we're working on projects with. But yeah, that's where we're at today. Day 6. Hopefully day 7 will be better, and it'll actually be deck oriented. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that fun stuff. And as always, we will talk to you later.